What if a joke could literally kill? To grab your attention right out of the gate, I want you to picture this. It's Sydney, Australia, January 2026. A tourist is just strolling through the Royal Botanic Garden, minding his own business, looking at his phone. Then, suddenly, a soft thud. He looks down and there is a stuffed koala right at his feet, with a little tag attached that says, "Congratulations, you've been visited by the drop bear." Now, that single seemingly hilarious moment of a stuffed toy dropping from the sky, it actually triggered a chain of events that ended in absolute tragedy. So, welcome to this explainer. Today we are unpacking the drop bear prank from viral joke to tragedy. I'm going to be your guide through this fascinating and honestly terrifying true crime arc. We're going to look at exactly how a completely harmless, AI-driven internet trend just spiraled so far out of control. We'll trace the whole timeline of this infamous prank and see how the desperate chase for millions of views turned an innocent little piece of code into a deadly cultural phenomenon.
Okay, let's dive right in by meeting the guy who started it all, Liam. He's a 24-year-old robotics student at the University of Sydney, who honestly just had a bit too much free time and a very specific sense of humor. His entire goal was incredibly simple. He just thought, what if he took the legendary Australian myth of the drop bear and made it real? But completely harmless, just a stuffed toy. He had absolutely no idea what his little creation was about to unleash.
And the tech behind this was, well, it was brilliant. Liam wasn't just out there manually flying a drone with a remote control. No, he programmed a highly capable AI to specifically hunt for tourists from 100 meters up. It would scan for things like sun hats, big backpacks, or maps, predict exactly where the person was walking, and then execute a flawless, perfectly timed drop of a 0-kilogram soft toy right onto their head. And of course, it automatically filmed the entire reaction for TikTok.
The sheer velocity of this thing going viral was just staggering, like mind-blowing. Liam uploads his very first video on January 5th, 2026. It shows a Japanese tourist who screams at first, but then just bursts into laughter and even kisses the stuffed animal. The algorithm absolutely ate it up. That single, genuinely joyous clip pulled in a massive 10 million views in 24 hours.
And the momentum didn't even stop there. He uploads a second video, this time featuring a German tourist in his 40s. The toy lands directly on his head, and incredibly, the guy doesn't even notice. He just keeps right on walking. That one video doubled the audience overnight to 20 million views. Suddenly, people aren't just going to Australia to see the Opera House, they're literally walking around hoping to get targeted by Liam's drone.
By late January, the trend hits its absolute peak. We are talking 500 million total global views, 500 million. They crossed that insane milestone after catching an American family on camera. The toy bounces off the dad's backpack and the kids just erupt into screams of pure joy. At this point, Liam is officially internet royalty, and the drop bear is basically cemented as Australia's new unofficial mascot.
Now, the really crucial thing to understand here is that everyone, literally everyone, thought this was just a harmless, hilarious joke. It wasn't just TikTokers having a laugh. The actual establishment joined in. Even the Prime Minister of Australia stood up at a national press conference, chuckled and said, "It was stuff, it was fine, it's a bit of fun." Tourism Australia was putting out statements, loving the enthusiasm. It was embraced by the whole culture from the top down. But here is where the tone shifts dramatically. Miles and miles away from Liam and his drone in Sydney, on a quiet evening at sunset down in Melbourne, a woman was walking her fluffy little dog in a park. Suddenly, she hears this heavy thud and the sound of a branch snapping. She looks down, probably expecting to see one of those famous stuffed toys, but it wasn't a toy. It was a real, sick, bleeding koala that had lost its grip and fallen from a tree. Now, this was just a terrible, random coincidence. It was koala mating season, which is a time when clumsy young koalas actually do fall from trees pretty frequently. But because it was 2026, everyone had their cameras out looking for drop bears. So when the video of this real, injured koala hit the internet, the headlines went explosive. Real koala falls on tourist. And just like that, the internet sparked this wildly dangerous rumor that the drone prank was somehow summoning real drop bears.
Watching all of this unfold, Liam absolutely panicked. He realized instantly that his code, his harmless little joke, had completely slipped out of his control. He turned his drone off, deleted his entire TikTok account, and posted this desperate plea online, literally begging people to stop and leave protected wildlife alone. But you know how the internet works. Nobody was listening. Hundreds of copycats all over the country had already bought their own drones. The digital wildfire was already raging.
The line between a fun prank and harsh reality was shattering right before our eyes. I really want you to think about this contrast. Liam's gentle 0-kilogram joke was designed purely for laughs. But now, we're in a landscape swarming with rogue copycats desperate for viral fame. And that escalating, thirsty need for clicks pushed someone out there to make a truly unthinkable, deadly decision. Which brings us to the tragic climax of this explainer. February 15th, 2026, the day the joke officially became a crime. An unidentified drone was flown deep into a forest. It used a mechanical claw to grip a real, live, protected Australian koala, lifted it into the night sky, and intentionally dropped it from a height of 50 meters. The animal did not survive, and instantly the entire world stopped laughing.
The public backlash was swift and it was severe. Politicians are suddenly demanding immediate drone bans, animal rights groups are protesting in the streets, and the New South Wales police launch a highly targeted wildlife crime investigation dubbed Operation Drop Bear. They were interviewing dozens of teenagers, tracing drone receipts, combing through social media. They found Liam pretty quickly, but thankfully cleared him right away. His drone was sitting in his garage, and he had a rock-solid alibi at his day job.
So who actually did it? Well, the police eventually tracked down the real killer. It was a man in his 30s who already had a documented history of animal cruelty. He saw the whole drop bear trend blowing up and literally sacrificed a live animal solely to manufacture some internet fame for himself. He was arrested, pleaded guilty, and got handed a strict 3-year prison sentence with absolutely no parole. So justice was technically served, but man, the cultural damage was already permanent. And look at what happened to Liam. Even though he was completely legally innocent, the internet totally turned on him. He was doxxed, brutally harassed, people were sending him pictures of dead animals. He wrote, "I didn't know a joke could kill." Deeply traumatized by what his little piece of code had inspired, this 26-year-old kid dropped out of university. He deleted his digital footprint entirely and took a minimum wage job packing boxes in a warehouse, just hollowed out by the guilt of his own viral success. But you know what the most profound tragedy of this whole explainer might actually be? The deep, painful irony of it all. Koalas were already dying by the thousands. They were facing massive, systemic crises every day. Habitat loss, devastating bushfires, rampant disease, car strikes. Yet, the world only paid attention to them when their suffering became this trendy, algorithm-friendly spectacle. And the second the viral moment passed, we all just looked away again.
The tragedy becomes incredibly personal when you stop and look at the actual individual life that was lost just chasing those views. An anonymous veterinarian who treated the koala dropped by that copycat's drone shared a really painful realization. That koala wasn't just a prop for a video, she was a perfectly healthy 3-year-old animal, and her name was Matilda. She would have lived a long, full life if it wasn't for human greed and this desperate chase for likes. Today, Matilda is left with just a lonely little plaque marking a small grave behind a Queensland koala hospital. It simply reads, "Matilda, 2023 to 2026. You deserved better." Her killer gets to walk out of prison in 2028 with a brand new identity. But Matilda is gone. And honestly, she's mostly been forgotten by a digital audience that just scrolled right past her tragedy onto the next viral video. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought about the internet forest we are all navigating every single day. The Drop Bear prank proved that the digital world is not just some harmless playground, right? It has intense, physical ripples. When we launch our ideas, our trends, and our content out into the wild, what are the real-world consequences? Because when you drop something from the sky, you truly never know what's going to fall next or who will be watching.